Your mama's calling back for no real reason but just to chat.
Hey Mom, how's it going?
Oh, wonderful. How's the wedding plan going?
Okay, I guess. I'm a little frustrated right now. I'm trying to set up an account and it won't let me.
Oh, well, I have some good news then. I remember you saying you wanted to put together a Bed Bath & Beyond wedding registry, so I just took care of that for you. I did use your wedding email address, so it'll be easy for you to log in, and I have already added all the items you could need. So it's all taken care of now. Just cross that off your list.
Thanks. I was just about to do that. So what's the password?
You're going to love this. It's Mom Rocks 2016. So that's capital M, then OMROX 2016.
Oh, nice. Oh, and there's already 207 items. Well, that was something Jonathan and I was going to do.
Oh, well, now you don't have to. I know how much stress this is, so just taking this one thing off your plate should help you. Besides, I didn't send it out yet. You can still look it over and then send it.
Okay, thanks.
Oh, and don't be mad, but I added some special things, for a possible baby.
Mom, I'm not even pregnant.
I know, but you need to start working on that. Okay, I have to get back to work. Just let me know if there's anything else I can do. Okay, talk to you later. Love you.
Love you too. Hello and welcome to the Wedding Files. I'm Tracy and I'm here to help you navigate through the mysteries of planning your wedding. So you just got engaged. And just as soon as you post that duck face selfie of you and your ring on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, do the questions start. What's the date? What are your colors? And soon after, the innocent suggestions start. You should talk to my friend. He does photography on the side and maybe he wouldn't charge you a whole lot. Or I just met a DJ and he could probably do your wedding. Maybe you should talk to him. And then it starts spiraling downward. I'll do your centerpieces. Or I'm going to make your cake. People mean well, but sometimes you lose a little bit of your vision when others start taking over. So today's episode is going to focus on how to maintain your identity and what to look out for. Our victims, the bride and groom. So what is a bride, what is a groom, and what are their identities? Well, many people focus on their sex as the definition. A bride is female, a groom is male. But you have to think of it in a different way whenever it comes to your vendors. Many vendors label your wedding file as the bride's last name, the bride's first name, and the wedding date, because that's the person they're going to be speaking to most of the time. Now that we have a lot more same-sex weddings and more grooms are taking the lead, now what do? Well, basically, when you sign contracts, if it's easier for you to remember, instead of using bride and groom, use main contact and second contact. This conveys to your vendors who they need to be talking to and who is going to be making most of the decisions for the couple. Remember that when you sign a contract, no matter if your parents are paying for it, the decisions are made between the two people getting married. Many of your vendors won't even talk to anyone other than the bride and groom to protect your wishes. So now that we know how vendors work, how do we prevent identity theft with your family and your friends? Well, first off, you and your fiance need to sit and talk openly and honestly about what you want from the very beginning. Sit down shortly after you get engaged, but before those suggestions and demands start coming in, and write down what you want your wedding to be. Things like, do we want a big wedding or an intimate wedding? Do we want a band or a DJ or both? Do we want alcohol or not? Do we want to allow children or not? I'll go into more detail about everything you need to decide right after you get engaged in a future episode, but for now, having most of the big decisions worked out, when you have to talk to overbearing parents and friends, you can back each other up and stand your ground. The hardest part is to say no thank you to people who want to help. So to have the wedding you want, you have to be honest and say no to some people and hold your ground on things you do want. Never let anyone make your wedding decisions for you. First on the suspects list is your maid or matron of honor and your best man. So to clarify, the maid is the one unmarried and the matron is the one married. We just call them MOH to make it easy. Their role is to help the bride vent, help plan parties like the bachelorette party,
help with the train at the altar and maybe bustle it after the ceremony, hold the groom's ring, hold the bride's bouquet, wrangle in the bridesmaids, sometimes the groomsmen, deal with the flower girls and the ring bearers.
And sometimes she's got a crazy job. However, I've seen some big sisters who have been married and start telling their younger sister bride what she should do. That's a form of identity theft. Remember, it's your wedding, not hers. She's doing a lot to help you that sometimes it leads to her making decisions on your behalf. So feel free to give her a list of items that you need her to do. Then she has a good idea of what she's supposed to do instead of making it up as she goes along. Now on to the best man. I can always count on him to be the life of the party or try to get the groom to chug a beer before he goes down the aisle. But the best man's basic role is to be there to hold the bride's ring at the altar, make a toast during the reception, and of course that bachelor party. So where does his identity theft come into play? Well, sometimes it plays out in reverse. His identity is stolen. Many best men that I've talked to know they need to do something, but aren't sure what or when. I am constantly asked during dinner, I know I'm supposed to make a toast, but I'm not sure when I'm supposed to do that. The best thing to do is talk to him and find out what he can do and what you need him to do. Maybe you need him to be in charge of getting the beer delivered or talking to his friend the DJ. As my husband has said to me a million times, be direct and tell him exactly what you need him to do and when you need it done by. Otherwise, what happens is the groom or bride will just take his job. They don't want to bother him or aren't sure if he can do it, so they just do it themselves. But your best man just needs direction, so give him a honey-do list. This leads us to our next group of suspects, the bridesmaids and the groomsmen. There's this gray area around them. They know they are supposed to be supportive of the happy couple, but what else are they supposed to do? Well, unanswered questions tend to lead to overcompensating. They start offering suggestions and then making decisions on the fly without you. And then there's always that one couple that just got married that, well, that's not how we did it at our wedding, whatever. Or the reverse happens and they do nothing. So to keep them involved and on track, give them small jobs or break bigger jobs up. Say give 2 of the groomsmen the job of bringing the alcohol the day of, or instead of handing your bouquet to the MOH, hand it to the first bridesmaid standing next to her. I've also witnessed the bustle bridesmaid. This woman went with the bride to the dress fitting and is the expert on the bustle and would be doing that right before the reception. Give them all a small task where they can have ownership and pride in it. When they know what to do, they won't be stealing from someone else or doing nothing and leaving everything for you to do. Now the most likely suspects, the parents. I saved them for last because this is where identity theft happens most of the time. If you're lucky to have parents who are supportive and want to be involved, they want you to experience everything they can give you. However, complications happen. If they're paying for it, that phrase will come up more than once. The phrase, when your father and I got married 30 years ago, that happens a lot too. So how do you get your wishes across and be grateful at the same time? Well, this is where you need to learn the phrase, I hear what you were saying and appreciate your suggestion, but I need time to talk to my fiance alone to make the decision. Also, listen to their advice or ideas on family traditions, but be sure to make your final decisions as a couple. In the opening scenario, my mom stole my identity and made a registry without asking. She took that experience from me because she thought she was helping. I should have responded, "Thank you for taking the time to do that. This is an experience that Jonathan and I wanted to have, so we planned on doing this together. Please understand us if we delete it and start over." Will my mom be mad or say I'm ungrateful? Maybe. But I've calmly and politely said thank you, told her why, and asked her to understand our position. There may be better ways to say what you need to, but I found that being honest and standing your ground may make them upset for a little while, but in the long term, you are setting the foundation for you to have the wedding and marriage you want. Your parents want the best for you, and they get excited for you. Help them not steal your identity by doing the same thing as with the rest of your party. Give them a job and a role. If they go to meetings with you, remind them before you even go in that they are there for support and suggestions, but the decisions are yours. Set the ground rules early and you will be successful in helping them maintain their identity and keeping yours. So now that we've identified all the main suspects, be on the lookout. Everyone wants to help you, but not everyone knows what to do. So you have to ask for help. Give out jobs, and don't be afraid to tell people what you want. The bride and groom, the bride and bride, or the groom and groom, y'all are in charge here. A wedding is just the party to set off the marriage. So have each other's back and make as many decisions as you can together. I learned from my stepmom that other people's opinions are none of my business. It doesn't mean you have to do what they say to do. Do what's right for the two of you, and you'll have a perfect wedding and a long-lasting marriage. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions or comments, please leave it below and I'll get to all of them. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and feel free to share and give me a thumbs up. I'll have a lot more videos coming up, like how much alcohol to buy or centerpiece ideas, so don't miss out. See you soon, and remember, I've got your back.